Hello friends, welcome to the Angular 8 tutorial. In this tutorial, we will learn one of the structural directive in Angular, that is ngif, else and then block in the Angular 8. So basically ngif is very useful for showing or hiding the element from the browser or from the application. Basically we use ngif if we want to add or remove element from the HTML layout at the runtime. So ngif is a directive, that means it can be added to the any tag to our template, and ngif the structural directive which has the prefix as the star. Ngif basically works on the true or false basis. Suppose if the value of the ng is false, then it will not show that element on the DOM. If it is true, then it will show the element on the DOM. And following is the format to write a ngif condition. Like on the suppose a div I want to show on the HTML layout, then we have to give div ngif and we have to give the condition that if it is a true or false, then we have to show it on the layout. So let's understand more about the ngif with using the example. So go to the Visual Studio Code, and as we can see here we have a component. So what we will do, we will create a one div here to understand it. So sorry, div, and what I will write, I will take a one variable. So before that we have to give the ngif. If it is, I'll directly take an example here only, like true. I am ngif. So what I will do, I'll simply save it and I will serve it ng ser dash o. So it will compile and it will show the this HTML layout on the browser. So it is compiling. So in the previous tutorial we took one variable here, and based on that we made the changes for the ngif, but here I am directly taking it like it is a true or false. Based on that it will appear on the browser. So we can see like I am ngif. So if I will give here false, then it should not show on the browser. So that is basic of the ngif. You can take here one variable as well, and I'll take that variable like is visible, and I will define this visible value in the component. So here you can define like true. If you define it here true, then we'll see here, we'll change the text also, like I'm ngif calling from component. See, okay, we didn't give a space, so it is coming in the one line. So what I will do, for the I'll make one line in between these two. So we'll see on the browser. It is showing here. Okay, we have false for this div, that's why it's not showing here. So we'll make it true as well, and we'll give one line to this also to visible properly. We'll see on the browser. So we can see here like it is showing both the div based on the condition. So that is basic of the ngif. And the so as condition says, like on the div or any element in which you want to show the ngif, you can simply write div and the ngif and the condition you can give. So the next thing is basically we have seen hidden field in the HTML. So what is the difference between the ngif and the hidden. Why hidden came in the angular rate, sorry, why ngif came in the angular rate, why we can't use hidden also. So the difference between these two I'll show in an example. Like when I go to the you do F12 and see the element here, we can see here we can see like we are looking these two, I am ngf and I am ngf calling from component. Suppose I make it as a false and save it and expand this app root, and we can see here it is not showing uh, that div here, it is totally removed from the DOM and it is not exist there. So the basically that hidden property just do the visible false from the DOM, it does not delete the element from the DOM, but ngif itself delete the element from the layout. So that's the main difference between these two. So the next is the difference between ngif, else and then. So basically when we write an ngif, if the ngif value is false, then in else part we want to show some data, then we use else block. So for writing the else block we have to write it in this format, like div ngif, we have to give one condition, then for else block we use the template reference. So we have to give the template reference name. So basically what we can say, else in Angular we use when we need to show data when condition is false, for else block we need to use ng template element. So basically we have to use the ng template element and it is referred by the template reference variable. So we'll understand this else block with an example. So let's go to here, and what I will do, I will take two radio buttons to make it like one radio button is for true and one radio button for false. So I'll make input type as radio, and I will give the name, because for the radio button name should be same. So I will give radio 1, and we want some operation on the click. So I will take click event and I will create one function, change val, and it will be a function. So from here directly I am passing the value, like it is a true or false. So first we'll understand this radio with simple ng block, then we'll understand same with the else block. So take another, and this will be also a radio button, and the name will be same. What I will do, I will pass different value to this, and here I will take the div. So I'll take the div, and here I will pass the value ng if, and the what I will do, here I will take one parameter like is visible, and I will close this div, and in between I will write this is visible when true radio button click. So we have to here I forgot to give the name true and false, and same I will make a div for the false click. So here what I will do, I will give not equal to. So see, you can see here I have given the not equal to like this, and I will give this is visible when false radio button is clicked. Now this value we will change through component, and we have given the function name. We will call this function from the component, and we will change the is visible value from there. So go to this component, and here we are already having is visible here. So what I will do, I will make it like visible new, and I will change visible new. So give visible new default value as true, and now create the function. So based on that, the value of is visible new will be changed. So change val, and the value of is this the data. So first we have to define it boolean, and because this is not is similar to this one, this is taking one parameter, and this is we are passing from here. So in visible new, I took different name that it should not be confusing for us. So this dot is visible new equal to, I will change well coming well. So this value will come from the radio button click. So I will assign this value to here, and will save it. And what it is saying, coming well implicitly has an any type, better to may infer from users. So that is fine, just save it and see on the browser. We can see compilation is successfully. See on the browser, see we can see here we have two radio button, true and false, and default the value is the true. So it is saying this is a visible when true radio button click. So when we'll click on false, it is saying false radio button click, and when we click on the true, it is saying the true radio button has clicked. So that is ngif. Now what we will do, we will call this using the else block. So what we will do, we same code we will have, just what when we click on this radio button, in the else block we will write it. So for writing this, we have to make some changes, and as I explained, we have to make one template, ng template. So we will make changes here. Just write else. Basically what we will do, when this value is true, then we will show this data, and when this value is false, then we will show this data. So if it is true, then we will use, and we will make a one block called then block, and if it is else, then we will make else block. And what we will do, we will we will create a div for this one. we have to, okay, we should not write it here. We have to create one ng template here. So just write ng ng template, and we will call this ng template as then block. So we have to use like this hash and then the block name, and we have to take this till here, and this parameter we will take in the div. And close this div. So we will see this block is still here. Now we will make another ng template, and that is for else block. So ng template hash, and we have to give the else block name, and this should come under this one. And next what we will do, we will remove these things from here, because now we are not calling through that variable. Then block, and this one we are taking now from here, this value we are taking from there. So what we have written so far, we have written if this value will come from the component. So when we click on the radio button, this value will check. If it is true, then it will go to the then condition, and for writing then condition we have to make the block. It will find ng template block, that where it is. So it will find it here, and it will call to this one, and if it is this value is else, then it will false, then it will go to the else block, and it will find the ng template, and it will go to this one. So after this, when we are looking, first we have to remove this as well, because it is wrongly written inside, and close this div, and this div is closed, and at last we have to remove this div from here, and we have to write it here, because the scope of this div is finished here. Now when we will call it from here, and the next thing what we have to do, yeah, so this whole thing will come in a double quotes. So when the visible new value, if it is false, then it will call to the else block, and when it is true, then it will call to the then block. And for more identification, if you can write then block, and we can write it here else block. So that is done with the coding. So let's run it and see on the browser. So we can see here it is showing, and default value is the true button, true radio button is clicked, so it is showing this, and we click on the false, then it is showing false radio button else block, and when we click on this, it is showing true radio button. So that is how ngif then and else block works in the Angular 8. So this is the format to way writing it. Basically, if we are using then and else keyword in the Angular 8, then we have to use those with using the ng template. So that is important thing we should remember while working with the ng if else and then in the Angular 8. So that is all about the ng if else and then in Angular 8. If you have any doubt or question, please comment. Thank you.